President Trump is betting that America's biggest trade partners will now rush to the negotiating table, that American voters will put up with a whack to their wallets.
We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that, but long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world. We have deficits with almost every country, not every country, but almost. And we're going to change it. It's been unfair. That's why we owe $36 trillion. We have deficits with everybody. We help everybody. We've been helping everybody for years. And to be honest, I don't think they appreciate it.
Well, there's been an immediate breakthrough. Mexico has now said that Trump has agreed to delay their tariff for a month after a good conversation. Reportedly, Mexico has agreed to assist to crack down at the southern border by putting 10,000 of their own troops there. Canada's Trudeau is due to talk to Trump later today as well.
Hello, welcome to the review where I watch all the garbage so y'all don't have to. Thanks for clicking on the link. I appreciate it. So Trump was right, putting those tariffs in place on Mexico and Canada and China. The Piers Morgan show was recorded prior to Trudeau capitulating, but Trudeau and Canada have capitulated. They're doing a $1.5 billion border plan to secure their border. So Trump has postponed the tariffs for 30 days because he wants to make sure they're going to follow through on what they're saying they're going to do. So Trump wins. America wins again.
And the DNC held a leadership forum this weekend as it looks to learn the lessons of its crushing defeat in the election. So far, it's not going very well.
How many of you believe that racism and misogyny played a role in Vice President Harris's defeat? Okay.
And that's why they're not going to win the next election either.
On the tariffs, I've known Trump a long time, as you know, and I could have told everybody what was going on here. He was not intending to actually slap 25% tariffs on his neighbours. He wanted them to be scared into thinking he was, so they do a deal to do something quite significant that he could claim was a victory in one of his election pledges, in this case, securing the southern border. He's a deal maker. That's what he does. He's a trader. He's a transactional president who just basically says, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this. And you know what? It looks like it's worked. Now, am I wrong?
No, you're not. And it kills me to say that. But the reality, look, Piers,
it kills you to say it. Why? Because America won? What's wrong with you? Piers, you're not wrong. You're absolutely right. Trump uses tariffs as a negotiation tactic, and it obviously worked. The first two countries he's threatened capitulated within a day or two because they need us way more than we need them. And it's about time we have a president that stands up for the United States. This dude over here, I don't know why it kills him to say it, but he can go fuck himself, this old guy over here. Why is it bad for the United States to win? Why? Explain yourself.
I was in Davos and...
Oh, he was in Davos at the World Economic Forum. Well, that freaking explains everything. He's a globalist piece of shit, this guy. And America can't win if you're a globalist because we're too rich already. You got to cut America. The globalists have to cut the United States down to size. They can't have a fair global government if the United States is richer than every other country out there.
The standard rubric phrase that people use is, look at what he does, not what he says.
Yeah.
He's a transactional deal maker, etc., etc. But the speed with which he has acted on so many other things in the United States, domestic policy, all the things you've been talking about, has led people to pause and think, well, maybe he's not just bluffing as a deal maker. And I think there's some valid justification. If we take the Colombia incident, now here we had...
What a great example, the Colombia incident. Trump's trying to fly deportees into Colombia, and the president of Colombia refuses to let the planes land. So Trump says, if you don't take these people back, we're going to tariff your stuff at 50%. And everything you send to the border is going to be triple inspected. Within an hour, the Colombian president said, not only are we going to take them back, but I'm going to come get them with my plane. And it's about time We have a president that's actually working for the benefit of the United States instead of the benefit of his own pockets. It's about time.
He sees everything as negotiable. And by the way, I kind of agree with him. And in terms of the volume of stuff pouring out of the White House, a lot of people think it's chaotic and so on and ill thought through and so on. I don't really agree. I think he spent 4 years systematically planning and plotting to hit the ground if he got back in, unbelievably hard. And I think that's what we're seeing. And no, I might be wrong, but I do believe that.
Okay, look, Piers.
He is a whirlwind of policy. It is, I don't, honestly, man, I'm 50 years old. I don't know how he has that energy. It's not like he's like, you know, working out every morning and eating real healthy and stuff. I mean, he's just like an average dude, like lifestyle wise. And the guy's energy is second to none.
The system, and you can debate this amongst yourselves to your heart's content, but the system is not designed and cannot cope with this much going through it without having severe disruption and unintended consequences. Now, that might be fine for those that want it like that. And that's not my position. It's not for me to take a position.
I think he may have a point there that our bureaucracy is so large, it's really going to have a tough time dealing with these changes. I think the best thing Trump could do is shut every single department down and rebuild it from the ground up, because honestly, they're all political. They all suck at their job. They're overstaffed and overpaid. I mean, if it was me, I would shut it all down.
But in the case of tariffs, is it okay? And the other thing is it really good to have the Canadian Prime Minister, soon to be ex, standing in front of his people saying, hey, we thought we were friends. This is not how you treat allies. Because in that scenario, fine, you won your deal. But what's your long-term damage?
Yeah, but you know what? I think I watched Trudeau sniffling and sniveling like he normally does. You know, he'll go down as one of the woke.
He said, what's your long-term damage from Canada? What's our long-term damage? Serious? Are you serious? None. We have no long-term damage from Canada. We don't need Canada. Canada needs us.
But what's your long-term damage?
Yeah, but you know what? I think I watched Trudeau sniffling and sniveling like he normally does. You know, he'll go down as one of the wokest leaders of the country in the history of mankind. He wouldn't even allow me to say that phrase. He famously said to a bunch of students when they said, you know, mankind, one small step for mankind, it's one step for people kind, we say in Canada. It's like he was ludicrous and ends up incredibly unpopular. He's on his way out. So for him to stand there and try and belatedly go out on a high whacking Trump, I'm like, I wonder what most Canadians are thinking. Because Trudeau's incredibly unpopular now. I reckon, Richard, I reckon a lot of Canadians will be thinking, like a lot of Brits are now thinking, well, we have a pretty weak, you know, pretty socialist left-wing government now. It's incredibly unpopular very quickly. I reckon a lot of them are thinking, I wish we had a bit of this action going on. It may not all be right, but my God, there's a kind of vim and vigor to it all.
Yes, I agree with you. God, this is getting deeply distressing for me. Twice in one evening. Yes, I think there is a section in Europe, look in Germany, look in the UK, that is saying, hang on, why are they getting so much from their leaders and we're getting non-stuff and nonsense? But I worry about the long-term animus. If you think about it, Colombia, South Africa, all the aid policies, the EU, the UK, Canada, Mexico, if these are your allies and that's how you treat them, I'd hate to see how you treat your enemies.
Maybe our allies should start treating us like allies. How about that, brother? Our military protects everybody. Our economy keeps everybody trucking. See Cenk shaking his head. Shut up, Chunk.
But I've watched all this tariff thing go down. You know, I'm going to do 60% tariffs on China. No, he's not. But what he wants China to think is there's a leader in town who's not going to take any crap from us. And someone who for 30 years has banged on about how China's been ripping off America. So we better take him more seriously than we've had to take Joe Biden, who didn't know what day it was. And I do think part of Trump's thinking and strategy in this sort of ferocious first couple of weeks is to send the message, America's woken up and you better all get used to it very quickly.
Yeah, look, as usual, I'm going to give a balanced answer here because that's the correct answer.
You're so full of shit, Cenk. So full of shit.
But first, if you think the Canadians love this, you're totally wrong. They booed the American national anthem in a hockey game.
A few of them did.
Because they're really, yeah.
Well, let's take a look.
Okay. I mean,
let's take a look. Look, there's a massive
you're
stadium.
Like a neocon.
Hang on. No, you said they all booed him.
Can I?
Let's play the clip. Let's play the evidence. For
they
the
did.
Viewers. Let's hear the crescendo of booing. Apparently. I got booed louder than that coming through Heathrow.
Yeah, there was like 20 people booing. The Canadians get it too. That's why they're about to get rid of their socialist government. They're going to get some conservatives back in there because they see what's going on too. Damn globalists are ruining everything. They're ruining the West on purpose.
Heathrow Airport the other day by a bunch of pro-Palestinians who recognised me. They were sort of semi-laughing as they did it.
Okay.
So, look, I don't think this was Canada rejecting Trump. I do think there are a lot of people in Canada, just what I'm seeing on social media, who actually think, you know what, Trudeau, you've had your chance, you blew it, and actually we get this. It's called strong leadership.
Okay, so far I've talked 5 seconds, but thank you for proving my point. They did definitely boo, and if you got booed louder.
Oh, poor Cenk only got to talk for 5 seconds. Is he going to start blowing his top now? Big baby.
That's kind of on you. So this idea, this neocon idea of if we attack them, they'll love us is ridiculous. No, they don't love us. Now, you say also, hey, Trump's been planning for 4 years. But when people said, hey,
you know what? I don't care if they love us. I want them to respect us. Fuck the love. They never loved us anyway. They didn't love us before Trump. They disrespect us. Fuck them. Fucking love us. Fuck that. I want them to respect us.
They're planning to do this Project 2025 for 4 years.
He did not just say Project 2025. Oh my God, I can't stand this dude. He is such a fucking liar.
Right wing flipped out and said, no way, that's not going to happen. No way. He's not planning at all. And then he gets in office and he's doing it pretty much exactly like Project 2025 said. In fact, he put the author of Project 2025 as the head of the Office of Management and Budget. And so they've done some things that I think are terrible, cutting U.S. aid. Now all of a sudden the donors are in charge of the Treasury, one of the worst ideas I've ever heard. Now, having said that, I understand what's going on with the tariff.
Do you mean Elon
He's
Musk?
Bluffing.
Do you mean Musk?
Oh, I mean Musk and apparently a whole army of Silicon Valley CEOs.
Cenk is so full of shit. You want to know how I know that? Remember when Cenk was asking Elon Musk to put him in? Remember that? Well, I guess Elon Musk didn't call him to put him in. He didn't call him to play dodgeball. And now Cenk's all being a big baby, a sore loser about it. He wanted to be on Elon Musk's team for cutting shit. Y'all remember that? He is so full of shit. This guy, he disgusts me. He's a giant baby. Yeah, that was 2 months ago? He was asking for Elon Musk to put him in. Put me in, coach, he said. Remember his tweet? Here's Cenk Uygur on Twitter. Hey, Elon Musk, put me in charge of the Pentagon. I'll slash 400 billion easy. That'll get you 20% to your goal of 2 trillion right out of the gate. I went to Wharton 3 years before you. I own a media company, so I know how to run a business. If you really want to cut, put me in, coach. So the big baby didn't get picked for the team, and he's all sour now and salty and crying about it. Go screw yourself, Cenk.
Have now been empowered
you know what?
to access all of the money of the American taxpayers?
I love it. You know why?
Okay, well, that's because...
Well, no,
right,
to Richard's... No, check, let me explain. To Richard's point...
Because that's a terrible idea.
No, I'd like
to... Hey, you know what, Piers? Let's put George Soros in charge.
Let me explain.
Let's give George Soros the key to the Treasury.
Let me explain.
Because that's the same thing.
Let me explain.
Now, Trump's putting people in charge that love America. George Soros doesn't love America. Trump's putting people inside that want to spend responsibly, not send $15 million to Afghanistan for condoms, not spend $40,000 on a transgender freaking opera in Peru or whatever the hell it was. Trump wants people in there that actually love America and want America to do well, unlike you fucking socialists.
Oh, donors are great if they're on my side. No, I hate the idea.
It's not about whose side they're on.
Oligarchy to the max.
All right, let me
you
explain.
haven't let me get to the part
Can
about
I
the
jump
tariffs.
in? Let me explain what I mean. To Richard's point, yeah, I actually quite like dismantling the status quo of how governments have operated in America for many, many decades. I think it's been largely to the detriment of the American people. So if you get a super brain like Elon Musk, who's a flawed character, don't get me wrong, but he's also got a super brain, gigantic sized brain. You know, for example, in the UK, the National Health Service was a great treasured thing, which we all loved, and we still love the principle of it. But it is literally creaking at the seams and falling apart because a big population now, it can't cope with it. I would love to have a brain like Elon Musk getting stuck into the spending on the NHS and restore it to glory, as he's done to every one of his businesses. So I don't really agree with you. I quite like the idea of these guys.
Cenk can't stand it because he's a big government guy. He's a communist. He wants the government controlling everything. He thinks the government's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He can't stand it. That's not America, dude. Go move to a socialist country that wants to run every part of your life. That's not the United States, dude.
Ripping into American federal overspending. Why not? And by the way, the American people seem to as well.
Why is he shaking his head? He's absolutely dealing with the overspending. I mean, we all just saw it with the USAID bullshit. $40 million to the coronavirus lab in China. They gave us coronavirus and killed 1 million Americans. We just saw the freaking numbers. Why is he shaking his head? He's got to be one of the most dishonest people on the internet.
So
They're loving all this.
Piers. Yeah, they're loving it until they find a couple of $1 trillion missing. And then they're going to go, oh, he had a big brain, but he didn't use it for us. He used it for himself. So
Yeah, because Elon Musk needs to steal money from the United States. That is the biggest bunch of horseshit I think I've ever heard. I don't think I'm going to be able to deal with Cenk this whole video. I really don't. I think I'm going to have to shut this video down early.
you guys are asking us, and by the way, this is the least populist position on planet Earth. Trust the big brain billionaires. You know who else has a big brain? And the right wing would agree. George Soros, not only one of the greatest investors of all time, but according to the right wing, has manipulated the American government to totally work for him for decades. If that's true, he has a giant brain. Should we put him in charge of the Treasury? No.
No, of course not, because he hates freaking America. We should put somebody in charge of the Treasury that absolutely loves America and wants America to succeed. What's wrong with you, dude? You can see what Elon is doing. He's being very transparent about everything he's doing. And you have a problem with that? Go fuck yourself. You know what? I can't watch the rest of this. I'm out, y'all. Cheers.